Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 6.
This weekend marks the 6th-year anniversary of the disappearance of NDSU freshman Tom Bierson, who was found dead days later in a parking lot of a Moorhead RV sales lot.
A death certificate filed late last year listed asphyxiation as Bierson's cause of death. And while Moorhead investigators tell Valley News Live's crime and safety reporter Bailey Hurley there are still many unanswered questions, they are closer to solving this case than they've ever been before.
No motive, no suspects, and still no arrests as another year goes by in the homicide investigation of 18-year-old Tom Bierson.
And we're in a unique situation where there are still many unanswered questions.
And while Jacobson says this case is unusual as answers and suspects tend to come early in investigations, he says Bierson's case is far from going cold.
You know, we're taking this serious and that we haven't put this on a shelf.
Both the Minnesota BCA and the FBI continue to assist Moorhead in the case, and Jacobson says detectives have been re-interviewing people and continue to examine Bierson's large case file.
And now we have a new investigator that is getting his fresh set of eyes, and yet again there continues to be new perspectives and somebody else that's going through and sometimes looking at the same information differently, but also looking at new pieces.
While Bierson's death certificate lists asphyxiation as his cause of death, search warrants filed earlier this week in Bierson's case say Bierson had, quote, extensive post-mortem abrasions on his back and buttocks, which would be consistent with Bierson, quote, being dragged for a distance. Jacobson says his department has no regrets in how this case was initially handled and investigated 6 years ago, and says his team is closer than ever to bringing both the Bierson family and the community closure.
We anticipate that there will be this day where we have the break that we need to have the answers.
In Moorhead, Bailey Hurley, Valley News Live.
We reached out to Bierson's family this morning but did not hear back. If you have any information on this case, you can send your tip in to the Moorhead Police. You can call dispatch 451-7660.
An armed man reportedly kidnapped a woman in northern Minnesota, leading authorities on a 60-mile chase. International Falls Police report the kidnapping yesterday. The woman said that she was forced into a white van by a man she had a prior relationship with. The chase began when authorities spotted the van and ended in a motel parking lot in the town of Orr. The woman was able to get out through the passenger door and ran into some woods. She was later found and taken to the hospital. Deputies then heard a gunshot from the van and found the man with a wound to his head. He's in the Duluth hospital with life-threatening injuries.
For those of you who still have flowers or plants outside, pay close attention to what Hutch has to say. He's here with a weather planner that could spell trouble. Hutch?
Yeah, we've definitely cooled off today over what we've seen the last couple of days. The coolest air is in northwest Minnesota, 53 Bemidji this hour, holding on to near 60 in our southern counties. Nobody really that warm as a result of the north flow. A cold front has pushed through and the coldest of the air is arriving as we speak. As our skies clear and the winds calm, we're going to see some rapidly falling temperatures into the overnight hours. Freeze warning where you see purple here from the Pembina area all the way through Bemidji and Park Rapids. Now, some of our counties are split, like Polk County here. The eastern side and Fosston have to worry about freezing conditions, but out near Crookston, we're expecting frost. Likewise, in Becker County, we have that same split going on there. Nonetheless, patchy frost will mainly stay to the east of the FM area. I can rule out a little bit here or there in the Clay County area. Here's a look at your planner for this evening. Get out and enjoy light winds and clear skies, rapidly falling temperatures as the sun sets. Look at that. By 2 a.m. we'll be in the 30s here in the FM area. Grand Forks a little cooler for our northern valley with temperatures in those 30s as well as we go through the overnight hours. Coming up, we'll have details on how low we go tonight. A little bit of warm up, and I have a dandy time lapse today showing the eviction of all that smoky air from the valley here in just a few minutes.
Can't wait to see that. Thanks, Hutch.
Downtown businesses are working on a quicker way to report crimes and disturbances to authorities. The two sides are working on approaches to make downtown Fargo safer. Police say that people need to be willing to testify to have crimes punished since police can't act as witnesses.
Some of the conduct, if we don't have anybody that's willing to sign a complaint, we cannot be the victim for them. Sometimes it's a little bit too much of a burden, and so then the officer has no choice but to not take enforcement action.
Police say there have been more annoyances than normal as COVID-19 has closed several businesses.
17 vehicles were broken into last night in West Fargo. Police say the break-ins mainly took place in the Goldenwood and Elmwood areas. The suspects were recorded on multiple home security systems, so police are asking people in those areas to check their cameras to help identify those people. If you know anything about the break-ins, go ahead and call West Fargo Police, 433-5500.
A man is in custody accused in 2 separate pickup thefts in the Jamestown area. Police early this morning pulled over one of the stolen pickups driven by 30-year-old Michael J. Greger for an equipment violation. It belonged to a business in nearby Kensal, North Dakota. Later, a Jamestown resident also called police to report his pickup had been stolen. It was located later in Kensal. If you have any information on this case, call authorities at 701-252-1000.
A woman is seriously injured after a pickup hit her car. It happened at 12:20 this afternoon at the intersection of 31st Street and 32nd Avenue South in Grand Forks. The driver of the pickup wasn't hurt, but the driver of the car was seriously injured. No citations have been issued at this time, and police say it appears the car failed to yield the right-of-way at the intersection.
Let's take a look at the COVID-19 numbers for this day. In North Dakota, there are 269 new cases, along with 5 more deaths. 177 people have died from the disease. In Minnesota, health officials are reporting 513 new cases of COVID-19, along with 7 new deaths linked to the illness. More than 1,900 people have died there.
West Fargo Public Schools is reporting nearly 200 students and staff are out of the classroom this week due to COVID-19 exposures, both at school and outside of it. Officials say of those in quarantine, 51 are showing COVID-related symptoms, but they say so far only 16 students and staff have tested positive for the virus.
We've had multiple Fargo parents reaching out to our whistleblower hotline about internet restrictions on students' iPads. Fargo Public Schools is saying iPads had internet filtering while at school. Well, that wasn't the case for online learning at home last week. They say all iPads now have filtering software for internet, both at school and at home.
Moorhead Public Schools says it will be another 4 to 6 weeks for all K-4 students to get Chromebooks. The district says students in grades 5 through 12 have gotten their devices, and in June they decided to order more for students in K through 4th grade. They say due to high demand in the market, the Chromebook order made in March just showed up, and back-ordered ones are now starting to ship. All students enrolled in the SPUD Virtual Academy have devices.
The Fargo School District is seeking input on the name for Woodrow Wilson High School. Submissions will be reviewed by the Board of Education's Communications, Engagement, and Advocacy Committee. Members will then forward a recommendation to the school board for its consideration at its October 13th meeting. Comments will be accepted until noon on October 1st. So if you want to submit a comment, we have directions on how to do that. It's on our website at valleynewslive.com.
Health officials are releasing plans to distribute the COVID-19 vaccine. Later on Valley News Live at 6, who may be getting it first and what local communities have to do. Next.
We've enjoyed your photos of the orange sun across the area. Thanks to all the smoke. Amanda, thanks for your Frazee area picture yesterday. A little bit of hint of smoke in the atmosphere in the Devil's Lake Basin. I'll have a video of how things cleared out here in the valley and your forecast next.